Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and I'm not a mod or a rocker. I'm a mocker. Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margo D. Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend. I'm just fixing my mop top right now.
I bet it looks so cute.
Ugh. Best.
Yes.
It's called Arthur.
That's one of my favorite lines. We are dorking out about 1964's Hard Day's Night because we watched Get Back on Disney Plus, and we're just kind of obsessed with the Beatles right now, and then realized that both of us consider this to be one of our favorite movies, and we've never done an episode on it. So it was time to make it happen.
Absolutely.
It is directed by Richard Lester, and it stars, the Beatles. Maybe you've heard of them. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. And it also has Wilfred Brambell, who I read starred in a BBC show that was called Steptoe and Son or something like that. And it was remade as Sanford and Son here in this country. So
yeah, that happens sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, Norman Rossington as Norm, the Beatles manager. He's so funny. So fun. Everyone's funny in this, by the way. John Junkin as Shake, the Beatles road manager, and then Victor Spinetti as the TV director. All of these people made me laugh really hard. I watched this movie twice before we sat down to record because I just fucking love it so much.
You forgot there's Patty Boyd is in there too.
Yes. And Patty Boyd as one of the schoolgirls and would later become Mrs. George Harrison. And then Mrs. Eric Clapton. Poor thing.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But she got remarried a few years ago and she's happy.
Yeah, that's good. We want that for her. So I'm pretty sure you didn't see this in the theater when it first came out, seeing as how
No, my parents did.
We weren't born yet. Yeah, my parents too. When did you first see Hard Day's Night, or how did it even come onto your radar?
I've been a Beatles fan since I was a kid. Yeah. I mean, really, really little. I was listening to their music. My mom would play Abbey Road, that and Simon & Garfunkel's Bridge Over Troubled Water. Mm-hmm. She would play this on a loop over and over and over again. So it's just always been a part of my life. And the movie, I think I went to a screening in the 80s. But I've seen it it's been on PBS and things like that.
Yeah. Which Beatle was your mom's Beatle?
Oh, Paul.
Yeah, my mom too.
He's gorgeous. I mean, he's so sweet. He's somebody you could take to your mom.
Totally.
And just so hot.
Yeah, my mom and I we watched some of Get Back together last week, and we were talking about the Beatles and how much she was just such a Polly girl. She was such a Polly girl, and I asked her, did you care when he was dating people, or, kind of like with John Lennon and Yoko Ono? Did you care? And she's like, no. She's like, I just loved him. He's adorable. I just want to look at him and look at his eyes. And she just loved him. And
we all did. My mom had friends that went to went to the airport, Idlewild.
Ooh.
And she had friends who went to Shea Stadium. My dad was not into rock music. My dad liked jazz and symphonies, that kind of shit. So
boring.
I know, exactly. He did see Buddy Holly.
That's pretty cool.
Which is a really cool thing. Yeah, at the Brooklyn King's Theater. Anyway, but yeah, I know people. My mom knew people who went, and she always thought it was hilarious how people can get so excited. And then my mom got that way about Garth Brooks in the 90s.
That's amazing.
So,
and the thunder rolls and the lightning crashes. I forget the rest of it. I don't know the song really.
There's no reason. I have nothing against the man, but it just was hilarious. My mom got really into it. Was Michael Bolton and then Garth Brooks. Those are two that she's like, I'm seeing them in concert. I'm seeing them every time they come to the Bay Area, and shut the hell up.
So funny. Did I ever tell you that I saw Michael Bolton in concert?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. My friend's mother bought us tickets because she thought the kids were super into Michael Bolton, and we were like, ah.
Hello, fellow kids.
Hello, fellow kids. Let's go see Kenny G and Michael Bolton together. I fell asleep. That was not my proudest moment. So I was trying to think about when I first saw Hard Day's Night. First of all, I grew up listening to the Beatles too. Like my parents also super loved the Beatles, and my mom in particular. But I'm pretty sure I saw the Monkees TV show.
Absolutely.
Before I ever saw Hard Day's Night. Like the Monkees were on in syndication. I loved the Monkees. I loved that show. I used to watch it all the time. I really loved the opening credits with all the like fast motion and just the songs. And then MTV picked up the Monkees and I watched it all the time. I just loved it. I think Hard Day's Night came onto my radar because Roger Ebert had written about it as one of his like great movie series. And I was like, how come I've never seen Hard Day's Night? And then I must have rented it or saw that it was going to be on TV and watched it and was like, this is amazing.
Yeah. I think it's part of it is like there's the early Beatles, which is super poppy.
Yeah.
And it's easy to dismiss that for some people, for snobs. It's, you know, the later work where they grow out their hair and they're like getting very experimental. It's cool to love that, but it's not cool for this. But you watch this movie, it feels like it was filmed yesterday.
I love it so much.
It looks so good. They are so fucking hilarious.
They are. They're so, all of them, like just naturally funny. I love their interplay with each other and the stuff with the manager, because he's like the authority figure. And you can see like so much of what that's what they would use for the template for like the Monkees, but also like, I don't know, because it's just so British. I guess it feels like Monty Python-esque to me sometimes.
Absolutely.
And this movie is just pure joy to me, like from beginning to end.
It helps that it has great music.
Yes.
It never stops with the music. And they're really good about, like, they have ballads in there to kind of balance things out, which really helps. And also, I look at them, I'm like, oh my God, they're like 25 years
they're
old,
little
24.
babies.
They're babies. And they're the biggest thing in the world. And they just seem like they're having so much fun.
Yeah, I think.
And it's nice to see it.
I think that's one of the things I love about it too. Like you said, I think you nailed it when you said it's cool to like the later Beatles and not as cool to like this really early Beatles. But these early Beatles songs are like, they're my faves. They're my faves. I love these songs, and they still seem so innocent, and like they're still amused by the screaming fans, and they love playing together, and they clearly get off on like making each other laugh. They're so fun to watch.
Yeah, they were very special.
So special.
It's like, they're four guys that look very much alike. They resemble each other. They're like the same height, same build. They're from the same part of England. I mean, they all have the same accents, but they have such distinct personalities that come across right away. So you never mix them up. And it's so much fun to watch them. You know, they catch all of them. Like, you know, Ringo is a little more morose. He gets a little sad. He has the sads. And he goes, you know, and George is kind of, you know, like the whole grotty thing. And he's more snarky. And John Lennon's just fucking hilarious.
So funny.
Oh, my God.
And Paul's the cute one. That's his defining personality trait. I'm fine with that.
I can watch him brush his hair in a mirror or sit in a club smoking a cigarette, watching other people dance all day. Yeah. Like, he's so enjoyable.
Yeah. During Get Out, when I was watching, Get Out. Get Back. Sorry.
Boy. Wow.
I hope
There's the mashup I want to see.
I hope I didn't say Get Out earlier when I was talking about this too. During Get Back, the whole time I was like, he was just smoking hot. I mean, he's still very handsome, but back then I was like, I would hit it. I get it. The movie has, in my opinion, one of the most like perfect movie openings ever. Like just that strum of Hard Day's Night kicking it off, and they're running from all the girls, and
those were real fans.
yeah, and is it George that falls, I think?
Yeah,
and
Ringo picked him up.
Yeah, and like that wasn't supposed to happen, and they kept it, but like the beginning just sets everything up so well, as they're like, it shows how funny they are, how clever they are, how insanely popular they are. And then you get Paul, and he's like hiding, he's like reading the newspaper, and he's wearing like a little disguise, and he's with his not real grandpa, but an actor playing his grandfather.
He's very clean.
He's very clean. He's a clean old man. He's not a dirty old man. He's a clean old man. And the grandfather is described as a villain, a king mixer, always stirring the pot and causing trouble wherever he goes. And he does. He does do those things. But I could just watch that beginning over and over and over.
Yeah.
And it's because the song is fucking dope. Duh, hot takes. So you're all here dorking out with our hot takes. The Beatles are great.
Ringo came up, and he might have heard it from somebody else, but Hard Day's Night just meant getting over a hangover, or I had my flu shots yesterday, so I feel like it's a hard day's night for me right now. I'm literally laying on my couch.
It's
like
a hard day's night.
And
I just got my vaccine.
And my flu shot at the same time, because I'm an idiot.
You're not
know what
idiot.
I mean?
That rhymes. You're so good at this.
I know, right? I should have joined them. But they wrote it. It was like Ringo used the expression, and they're like, oh, that sounds clever. And John and Paul wrote it overnight. And then boom, the next day.
So stupid,
and it's like
talented.
One of the best guitar riffs ever, like
Yes.
the way it opens up that crashing sound. It's just like, if you're allergic to this, I just don't want to know you.
Seriously.
You have a problem with joy.
I can't believe that they fucking wrote this classic song overnight. Or you watch Get Back and you watch Paul write Let It Be in like fucking 10 minutes. And I'm like, save some talent for the rest of us, you assholes. It's not fair.
It's hard work. But they spent like 7 years. They would play gigs until like 2, 3, 4 in the morning. And they really, that's the whole, what's his face that had the 10,000 hours?
Yeah.
That guy, remember that guy? That they put all this time into it. So they were so good that they could just do it on a dime. They could just, and they used, there's all these things where they were so witty in press conferences.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it when they came to New York and they're at the airport and they're like, are you going to get haircuts? And they're all kind of like, I don't know. And then George goes, I just had one yesterday. It's such a great delivery. And they just seem like they're having such a ball. I love them.
Yeah. So the whole premise of Hard Day's Night is what we're talking about, like 24 hours, I guess, in the life of the Beatles as they're getting ready for a live TV appearance, and hilarity ensues. And so they took things from like the Beatles' life and they filmed it, like recreated it for the movie. And one is those press conferences, because they are like so clever in their press conferences. And they do that here where they go to like a press mixer or something, and these poor guys, they really just want to eat and drink and like talk to girls and like do things that like young dudes want to do. And they have to talk to the press, and the press doesn't let them eat anything or drink anything, and asks, what do you call that haircut? And that's when he says Arthur. And I love has success changed your life? And George just goes, yes. Like no answer. They do all of that.
This woman asks John Lennon, like, do you have any hobbies? And supposedly he wrote tits on the paper and showed it, which I love that. Sorry, excuse me.
They are just so funny, and like clearly, like everyone always asks Paul McCartney, like, if he's like romantically involved with people. So like he's just constantly like, we're just good friends. We're just good friends. We're just good friends. His answers for everything.
I want to be his friend.
Fact. I would also like to just be some lucky, lucky girls in this movie that get to interact with them. I'm jealous.
Me too.
They're all cute. Like like I think we talked about this last week or last episode when we talked about Get Back. Like, people would even say like Ringo is the one that's not as cute, and I was like, he's super cute.
He turned out the most handsome as he got older.
Yeah,
I think.
And you rightfully pointed out he has beautiful eyes, like
gorgeous eyes, and super witty and funny.
Mm-hmm.
Peace and love. Peace and love. Love Ringo. I love them all so much.
Me too. The director of the TV show makes me laugh every time he's on screen, because he's just like, it's a plot. Everyone's out to get me. You're all going to ruin me. He's so stressed out. He's wearing this like fuzzy sweater.
Hideous sweater that like doesn't fit him. It's like, and then they try to figure out if he's married or not. Yes. And John's like, no way. Look at that sweater.
Look at that sweater. And then I think Paul's like, maybe his wife knitted it for him. But I'm trying to figure out, what is this show that they are doing for TV? That there's like opera, and then there's like dancers and the Beatles?
It's Ed Sullivan. It's like variety shows that were really popular. My mom told me this. I think it was Sunday nights. Like, Ed Sullivan was the shit.
Right.
And she said you would have like somebody come out and she'd be an opera singer, and then they'd have like a couple of poodles doing dancing, and then they bring a comic out, and then they would have a band, and then and he was like, Ed Sullivan was just not a charismatic guy at all, but for some reason it just worked. I think he just was so bland, I think, that everything else could shine.
Sure. He's like Jimmy Fallon.
Yes.
That's so shitty. That was a shitty thing to say.
Fallon is handsome, at least.
He is handsome. That's really more like Jay Leno. Jay Leno's like Jell-O. It's like totally non-offensive, like whatever.
Yeah. Unless he's doing jokes about Asian people eating.
Yeah, then he's hilarious.
Oh my God. But that was it was a big deal, and that was their big break. And my mom did tell me, I said, did you watch them on, at Sullivan? She goes, of course. I mean, everyone was complaining about it, because they were like a Catholic family on Long Island. But she said everyone watched it. And then everybody talked about it the next day.
Yeah, it was like 70 million people watched them.
Which is like, it's like a 70% share or something. It's like ridiculous.
So, I mean, think this is how you would explain it. 70% of the people who owned televisions at the time all watched the Beatles on Ed Sullivan. That's bananas.
And nobody had their own TV. It was a family thing. Like, you had parents or you had relatives live with you, or your neighbors would come over. So there could be like 10 people in the room, or at a bar or something. So it was way more than that. And that's like, it's also at the moon landing. My dad always said, it was like a 90 share. Goes, who are these idiots watching something else? That 10%. What were they watching?
Good question. Have you ever reacted the way that the fans react to a musical act? Like, these girls they're crying and screaming and like chasing out. Like, have you ever reacted that way?
I saw Rick Springfield in the early 80s.
I also saw Rick Springfield.
Working Class Dog times.
Yeah.
And I've seen him since then. He's puts on a great show.
Yeah.
But I thought he was cute enough. I liked him fine, but I had two friends that I thought were going to hurl. They were hyperventilating so much. Rick!
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I also saw Rick Springfield in the 80s. I think the closest I could think of is I saw the Beastie Boys a few times. And, and every time I saw the Beastie Boys, I like completely regressed to like the 15-year-old version of myself, where I was just like, oh my God, it's the Beastie Boys, and like totally transfixed by them, and would like sing to like every song, and like just was like, I love you.
I feel the same way. I love they were amazing. I've seen a lot of hair bands that were fun to see, but I was more like, I saw Poison and Rat. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
It's the 80s. I saw the Stones a few times. I saw the Who. They're great. I mean, I like a concert. I like kind of.
Yeah, you're a rocker chick.
Shit. I'm a rocker chick. Yeah.
You totally are. Do you have a favorite Beatle?
It changes over the years.
Yeah.
I think overall it's probably George.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to meet Paul or Ringo. My big fear is I think about like if I were in a time machine, I could go back and I could be like John Lennon. What if he was a dick? What if he was just in a bad mood that day? And it would ruin the Beatles for me.
Who was it that, was it you or was it my sister that said John Lennon looked like he smells bad?
Yeah.
Like he might have.
And Get Back.
Yeah.
He's not as, he doesn't smell like soap like Paul McCartney does.
Mm-hmm.
And some baking powder under his armpits. Like Paul keeps it clean, y'all.
Yeah, he does. Just like his grandfather.
Yep. Yes.
In this movie, I think my favorite is George, and I love the whole sequence where he wanders into a meeting with like, I guess, a television executive, and they're like, show him the shirts. Like do they know who he is? I'm not 100%.
I don't think they know who he is. They just know he might be somebody.
Yeah.
I don't understand why the young woman, when he comes into the room, doesn't lose her fucking shit. But and I want to be her in the movie.
Yeah.
I want to be smoking a cigarette and wearing that outfit and be like, come with me, please.
Yes.
And then they show him the shirts and they just, they're grotty.
Yeah.
And grotesque.
All of that stuff. And, he's like, they're grotty. And he's like, I know that you'll suffer from low self-esteem because you don't have this shirt in like 3 weeks. And he's like, that's not true. And then he says to him, you could be replaced, chickie baby. And then they talk about the resident teenager, the trendsetter, and he says, oh, that posh bird who gets everything wrong. We turn the sound down on her and say rude things. And it just makes me laugh really hard every time. We turn the sound down on her and say rude things.
I like John Lennon when he's flirting with that woman backstage.
Oh my gosh.
Like, they're going to talk about us. What should we do? Like, he's so game for that conversation.
He is.
He's a great comedian. They all are. They're really good comedians.
They're so fun. They all get like a little moment. George gets his gruddy shirts. Paul gets all the stuff with his grandfather. John has that conversation with that woman, and there's just the stuff with the manager too, where he keeps calling him a swine. And you'd look good with an apple in your gob and like all this stuff, and then Ringo gets to go out and go parading, taking photos and stuff like that. They all get a little moment.
He meets a street urchin who has like dirt all over his face. I'm always like, why doesn't he reach over, take like a napkin and clean that kid's face? Like spit into the napkin and wipe his face hard, but
because he's not a mother. That's what a mother.
It's like it's the mother instinct in me would do immediately. But yeah, they hang out so that he has a thing, and then they go out and look for him, and then they bring him back, and then is it Can't Buy Me Love is the sequence.
Yeah.
We talked about Can't Buy Me Love. There's a lot of Beatles movies out too.
Yeah.
We could talk about, but they have that whole sequence when they're outside just being doofuses, and that's how they got the idea for the Monkees. Like they just said, this is ridiculous. We should have this on every week.
And it's a pleasure to watch. Like there's like fast motion and slow motion, and it doesn't make sense, and they're just acting silly and having fun, and the song is so great. It's such a good scene. Mm-hmm. It's just really fun. Do you have a favorite song in the movie?
And I Love Her, which is really hard key for me to keep it. But Hard Day's Night, come on. Like, who doesn't love that?
I know. I love that. I love Hard Day's Night. I love I Should Have Known Better. Mm-hmm. I think when they sing it on the train, all the stuff on the train makes me laugh.
When they're outside trying to distract the guy.
Hey, mister, could we have our ball back?
They're and it's like 88 minutes or something. There's like not like a wasted scene. Mm-mm. It's just this perfect little movie. And it makes me laugh because all these reporters, when they were reviewing it, that they were these old men that were just like, blah, middle-aged men that were just like, what are these long hairs? And all of them wrote glowing things because they're so damn charming.
Yeah. You can't help but love it. I mean, most of the time when a pop star, makes a movie, shit don't fucking work out. Like, I mean, Elvis made a lot of movies, and they are very Elvis movies, like, and this movie is not like those movies. It's documentary-like. but then it's like wacky comedy as well. It's very, very different. I think I read somewhere that it was described as the Citizen Kane of jukebox movies. And I'm like, sure,
It is.
I could totally see that. It's a great way to describe it. I wish I could remember who said that, but
the art direction's fantastic. And some of the camera angles and the tricks that they do are incredible. And that just last scenes where they're doing the concert, it's like 20 minutes straight or something.
Yes.
They must have been exhausted. And then they have to run out and then they go into the helicopter and they fly away.
It's so good.
I know.
It's so fun. It's just, like I said, pure joy. What's your favorite sequence in the movie or favorite scene?
I was just going to say, I'm always looking for Charlotte Rampling because she's in the scene where they're in the discotheque.
Oh, yeah.
And Ringo doing the peppermint twist or whatever he was doing. I would dance with that guy in a second.
For sure. He looks like a fun dancer.
Yeah, he's great. He doesn't give a shit how he looks. He's just having fun. He enjoys the beat. I love it. I love it. I love it all.
Yeah,
what about you?
I also love where they're at the discotheque dancing because they're just like having a good time. But basically, from the moment they get on the train till, the whole movie is my favorite. But like the train stuff always makes me laugh. The stuff with the old man who's like, I ride the train regularly. Therefore I have some rights. And just the way they shoot it with like, they kind of zoom in on his face, but you can still like Paul's like in there too, like looking at him. Like just the way they shoot it. And Ringo tries to play the radio and he's like, and we won't have any of that either. And like turns it off. And like George is like scowling at him. And, Lennon is pretending to snort cocaine. He's got like a bottle of pop and he's like pretending to snort it. And like just all of that. It's just, God, it's like a perfect movie.
It really is. It's just stupid enjoyable.
It's my favorite. I can't believe we waited this long.
I don't know what it was. I guess everyone's talking about Get Back. And so when I told you with that documentary, the thing that gets to me is how happy they seem to be around each other once they get the kinks out. And to see them really young and seeming like they're having fun with it and they're not taking it too seriously and they're just going to, take it as far as it can go and do it together. I just love it.
Yeah. There seemed to be, there's so much talk about like they really couldn't stand each other at the end and Yoko Ono broke them up and all these things. And you watch.
That's bullshit.
Yeah. And you watch Get Back and you're like, no, she had nothing to do with this. If anything, she was keeping Lennon in check.
He was trying to get sober. A lot of people know that. He was trying to recover from heroin. He was using heroin at that time. And so that was a part of it. She was trying to keep close to him.
Yeah.
So, she served a purpose. I mean, George brought all his Hare Krishna weirdo friends.
Yeah. I'm like, the Beatles broke up the Beatles. Like,
yeah, they had 10 years.
Yeah. But you can also see that they had something really special. They wrote together so well and wrote this amazing music and their chemistry, and it comes across in Hard Day's Night, it comes across in Help, it comes across in Get Back. Like they just had it.
Yeah.
Do you I don't go back to Help very often.
I don't like the color movies. I don't really like. I used to love Yellow Submarine when I was a kid, but that's it's very dated now.
Yeah. I went to see it pre-COVID. There was a screening of the Yellow Submarine here at the Castro Movie Theater in San Francisco. And I took Calvin and he really liked it.
Oh, I loved it when I was a kid.
Yeah. And it's because it's colorful and the music is really great and he loved it. And so I have like a playlist, on my Apple Music that's like songs that Calvin likes, and there's a bunch from Yellow Submarine on there because he really likes those songs and it's really fun. And I go back to Hard Day's Night like once or twice a year, but rarely do I go back to Help. Very rarely.
Yeah, or excuse me, Magical Mystery Tour.
Yeah,
is not my favorite. That's really kind of a drag.
Yeah, we should watch the Bee Gees version of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band.
I think it's hard to get because of the music rights.
I could see that.
I could see that. I mean, I would be in it in a second, but I think it's not available. But
Boo!
put it on the list.
It would be fun to talk about. I haven't seen it in a really, really, really long time. Like, maybe I was in my 20s when I saw it. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So it's so weird. This movie was nominated for Best Original Screenplay, and it was also nominated for Best Original Score. But Hard Day's Night was not nominated. I'm like,
Which
what?
is a travesty.
What the fuck?
I think, if I'm correct, I think the Beatles didn't win any Tony Awards, or I'm sorry, what's the word I'm thinking of? Grammys. I don't think they won any Grammys either, like during their career. I think it was after.
That's insane.
Which is insane, yeah.
I looked up some of the other, like the songs that were nominated, and it's like Chim Chimmery from Mary Poppins was the winner.
It's a good song, I have to say.
Yeah, but it's no Hard Day's Night.
No, it's not even a fair contest, but I think they weren't going to give it to a rock band.
You're right.
They're a bunch of squares.
Total. There's something here called Dear Heart from the movie Dear Heart. Sure.
Don't know it.
A song called Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte.
Oh, yeah, the movie's crazy.
I have never seen that one. My Kind of Town from Robin and the Seven Hoods.
I don't know that one.
And Where Love Has Gone from the movie Where Love Has Gone.
Wow, they don't even try.
No, they don't. And then
No.
for original screenplay, it lost to Father Goose. What's Father
What the fuck
Goose?
is Father Goose?
Fuck if I know. And then the other movies nominated, one is called One Potato, Two Potato. Don't know it. The Organizer. Don't know it. The Man from Rio. Sounds familiar, but don't really know it. I'm like, come on. That's lame. And then Best Original Score was My Fair Lady.
Well, okay, I get that.
Yeah. And then Mary Poppins was in there. Robin and the Seven Hoods, which I'm like, maybe I need to see that. And The Unsinkable Molly Brown.
Yeah. The usual shit.
Totally.
The basics.
The basics. The Academy. By the way, if you're like, I can't believe Green Book won, the Oscars have always been fucking lame. Just saying.
Yeah.
I'm like, by the way, I'm a huge Oscar nerd. Huge Oscar nerd. I'm telling you, they're always lame. Always.
There's a year where they do have some like bizarre choices, like bizarre for them.
Yeah.
But progressive. And then the following year, it goes right back to it again. It really, yeah. It's full of the olds.
The olds. The olds of Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
This is a happy hour show, though, just in case y'all are wondering. It's happening. What else should we say? Do you have a favorite line? Is it Arthur?
It's Arthur. But that whole interaction with John Lennon with that woman, what do they say about us? They're talking. He's so into it. And then she looks more like me than I do. I don't know, something like that. But that's a good throwaway line.
I stuck up for you. I knew I could count on you. So good. Oh my gosh, it's such a perfect movie. I know I've already said that a million times.
It really is, and especially if you have like some time off at the end of the month, and you're looking for just something pleasurable, just to put your feet up and have a glass of wine and enjoy it. This is the perfect movie.
It is. I think that was everything in my notes. We mentioned Patty Boyd. That's important.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to hear about the top 10 movies of 1964? Damn it, Max.
Damn it, Max. You little son of a bitch. You should know. You hurt my Sonia.
If you all are wondering, how come we haven't had a new episode in a little while? It's because of Max. Max wrapped me up with his leash and knocked me down and fractured my elbows.
Both of them, you guys.
Both of them. So I was out of commission for about a week. Jerk. So the top 10 movies of 1964. Number 10, little movie called Hard Day's Night. Maybe y'all have heard of it.
Yep.
Number 9, The Pink Panther.
Sure.
I'm like,
Peter Sellers. I know.
Yeah, brr, 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 brr. 8, The Unsinkable Molly Brown.
Never seen it.
Me neither. 7,
No.
What a Way to Go.
Fuck. These are not movies. You're making this up. You're just pulling words out of a dictionary.
It says it stars Shirley MacLaine, Paul Newman, Robert Mitchum, Dean Martin, Gene Kelly.
I love all these people.
I know, Dick Van Dyke. It's really fun to say, what a way to go, with an exclamation point. Love it. Number 6, A Shot in the Dark, which is that before or after the second installment of Pink Panther? They released 2 Pink Panther movies in the same year? Weird.
I don't know.
All right. Number 5, From Russia with Love.
Cool.
I like Bond movies. That one's okay. Actually, there's another Bond movie in here. All right. Well, number 4 is The Carpetbaggers.
Don't know it.
Number 3, Goldfinger.
Yep. Good movie.
Yep. Number 2, My Fair Lady.
Good movie.
Movie you like. Number 1 is Mary Poppins.
I love Mary Poppins.
Yeah, Mary Poppins is great. You know what? I just saw Mary Poppins for the first time within the last 5 years.
You never saw it as a kid?
No.
Wow, that's bizarre.
It's super bizarre. I don't know how that I knew the scene where she danced the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious and they dance, and I knew that everyone makes fun of Dick Van Dyke's accent, but I had never seen the movie, and so I finally saw it and I was like, "Oh, I get it. This is super great. It's super fun." But it was a weird thing that I was like, "No, I had never seen Mary Poppins."
I'd never seen The Sound of Music until just a few years ago.
Okay. I also had not seen The Sound of Music.
Yeah. I don't think something my mother wasn't into it, so we didn't.
Yeah.
And mom was in charge of the movies.
Did you? I made a mistake. I watched it on TV with commercials, and I think that was a poor choice because it made it stupid long.
Well, you know what? Mary Poppins is actually a little long, I think.
Yeah.
They could trim that one too. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear some of the? So the Beatles had 20 hits in 1963 and 64.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the top songs that are not the Beatles in 1964.
All right.
Okay. Second for the year. Number 3, Hello Dolly by Louis Armstrong.
Okay.
Oh Pretty Woman, Roy Orbison. Great song.
That's a great song.
I Get Around, the Beach Boys.
Mm-hmm.
My Guy, Mary Wells.
These are classics.
Where Did Our Love Go, the Supremes.
Yes, I love that song.
Diddy from Manfred Mann.
That's a good
and
song
Stripes.
too.
And Dancing in the Streets, Martha and the Vandells.
All of those songs are
Dope.
Full on classics.
Yep, they're bops.
I like it. Good picks. We're going to do what else we're dorking out about, but first we're going to start with something that we're really not dorking out about, I guess. So neither of us have watched the Sex and the City, the return to Sex and the City, I guess. What are they? And Just Like That. That's what they're calling it. Neither of us have watched it. I guess there's going to be spoilers here. So if you have watched it or haven't watched it, maybe you want to just skip this part. But let's talk about why we're not watching it.
I know, I feel bad because I have friends that get very defensive because Sex and the City does get shit on quite a bit.
For sure.
Those movies are not great, for sure.
Yes.
But there are worse ones.
Yes.
That are out there. And the characters are, let's just say, complex. Carrie's not a likable person.
No.
Carrie's a real fuck up. I think all of them. But at the same time, it's women not allowed to be complicated.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it. But at the same time, I think over the years, I've really come to dislike Carrie.
Yeah.
And the materialism and she's into shoes. That's not a characteristic. Yeah. I just don't, it doesn't, I know, who's the one who wrote it? Candace Bushnell.
Yeah. Yeah.
She has a one-woman show, and I saw it on New York One. They were showing clips of it, and she's like, I was really into shoes. And everyone goes, ha, 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 shoes. I'm like, I'm so sick of the shoes thing.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm done with it. I just thought, and I thought the second one was a really bad
Yeah.
movie. So I was like, and then they don't have Samantha. Like, she was the one I really enjoyed the most.
Yeah, that one, that's where this became kind of a deal breaker. Kind of like you, Sex and the City really meant something to me when it was on the air. I liked that it was about 4 women, that they were older. They were, 30s, turning 40. Samantha was already in her late 40s, early 50s at that point. I liked their friendships a lot. And I watched it every week, and I watched the reruns all the time. I owned them on DVD as someone who was single at the time and dating and trying to navigate that stuff. It clicked for me, and they meant something. They were like my friends, and I was I was one of those people that was very protective of them. And I liked the first movie. It was problematic for sure, but I still liked it. I liked it. I didn't love it, but then the second movie, not so much. But then as I got older and would go back and watch the episodes, I'm like, all they talk about are men. And it's like, do they not have other things in their life? But that's not what the show was about. And I was like, that's unfair of me, but whatever. And I was like, it's okay.
not what the show's about,
yeah.
right?
And I was like, and that's okay. It's okay if, like, maybe I've outgrown the show and it is meant for younger people or whatever. That's fine. But Samantha was the character that I thought aged the best. Like, she was always really progressive, always really open-minded, and she just was like, fuck it, and did what she wants. And
right.
And she was the one who was always a really good friend to everyone on that show.
Yeah.
And to then read that they are just like, Carrie decided not to use her as a publicist anymore, so she got pissed off and moved to London. I'm like, that's fucking lame, and I don't buy it for 1 second. So I've made up another story in my head, which is Samantha finally figured out that Carrie was a shitty friend and fucking cut her out of her life and moved on. That's the story I've put in my head. And
I can't get over the episode. I'm sorry.
No, go.
About where Carrie, like, she was going to have her building bought or turn co-op.
Oh, yes.
And she had like $30 in the bank or something. And they were all like, well, I'll give you $100,000 or I'll give you this much. And Charlotte was the only one that was like, no, you can't have my money. You're a grown woman. Like, what did you do? But we were all supposed to feel sorry for her. Just we're like, no, it's a shoes thing. That's more important than Carrie got on my nerves by the end.
Yeah.
Like
and
she goes to France and shit.
Yeah. And look, we all have a Carrie in our life, or maybe we are the Carrie. We've all made stupid, bad choices. I get it. But it doesn't mean we have to like watching it on TV.
Yeah.
And just hearing about how they're handling the Samantha thing, it sounds shitty to me. And it sounds like, I just feel like they could have handled it differently. They could have.
They're punishing her.
Yeah.
I think they're punishing her.
And I don't like it.
No.
So I think I'm going to pass.
I'll see one episode for sure.
Okay. Report back to me.
I'll report back to you. But yeah, I don't know. I've been feeling this the whole time they've been filming it and stuff like that. There's no shows out there like filled with women in their 50s who are kind of like figuring life out still and dealing with real issues. And so I want to be supportive of that. I think, and I think they're course correcting their whiteness and their cis, heterosexual bent. That was, except for a couple of gay characters that were super over the top.
Yes.
But I don't know. I mean, I'll check out the first one and see if it's worthwhile. But
all right.
Yeah.
I'm depending on you. Report back.
I'll report back.
Do we both want to talk about Single All the Way?
This is the best Netflix movie.
It is.
I watched it twice in a row.
Yes.
I watched it and then I went back and I watched it again. It was so goddamn enjoyable. Everybody should be talking about this movie.
I 100% agree. This is the best Netflix movie they've made. It's better than Always Be My Maybe. It's better than all the Princess Switch movies that people seem to love that I watched and was like, what the fuck? It's so funny and like sweet.
Yeah.
I was really invested. And I totally cried at the end. Totally cried.
We should say it's like one of the first gay-centric, like the lead characters are gay. And it's like they're two best friends. And it's the thing where, we've seen this before, where you're bringing your best friend, but they're pretending to be your boyfriend to your family because you don't want them to feel sorry for you for being single. Okay, it's all been done before.
Yes.
But they've never had Michael Urie or who am I thinking of is in this movie? Kathy Najimy is in here.
I love her.
She is funny as shit. Jennifer Coolidge is in
Jennifer
this movie.
Coolidge, national treasure. Jennifer Coolidge.
Fucking A. There's a guy that plays like a drunk Santa, and he sings a song at the end.
Oh, that's Dan Fennerty. That's Kathy Najimy's husband.
He's hysterical. It's everything I love about a Hallmark movie or all those holiday Christmas movies, but it just ups it a little bit. It's much funnier.
Yes.
And I really got invested. Like I wanted a happy ending and I got it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
it earned it.
It 100% earned it. It's Michael Urie and I want to make sure I get his name right, but it's like Philemon Chambers as Nick. Mm-hmm. And they are best friends. They go back to Michael's like hometown to do the whole Christmas thing. The mom sets Michael up on a date with like her gym instructor or whatever.
Trainer.
Thank you. That's the word I was looking for.
The gym instructor.
And he's nice enough, but he's just not the guy for him. And it turns out that Michael and their names are Peter and Nick. They are actually really in love. And I think they super earn it. And then we got Barry Bostwick as the dad. I think he's really funny. I love that the teenage girls aren't dum-dums. They're actually really smart, who can see what's happening and, try to kind of manipulate the situation, but it's not like super obnoxious.
No, they want him to move home. They miss him.
It's so sweet. And like I said,
it really is.
I fully cried at the end. I laughed out loud. I thought it was really, really good. I'm like, I'm going to watch this shit every year.
Yeah, I'm totally in.
It's going to make the cut for me. Because what was the other one I watched? Oh my God. Oh, all right. I tried to watch the one that came out last year on Hulu, Happiest Season. I made it about a half hour and I was like, I don't like these people. I stopped watching.
Yeah.
Did you watch that one? The one with Kristen Stewart?
No.
Yeah.
No. There's certain ones I'm not into them as much.
Yeah.
I'm not into like the Candace Cameron Brulee.
Yeah.
I like who's the one that was from Party of Five?
Oh,
she was the young
Lacey Chambert.
I like her.
Yeah.
She does some good ones. I mean, the thing is that it was also the same thing like with Sex and the City. It's all about white heterosexual people.
Yes.
And they're big. The woman either is like struggling in her career or she works too hard. She has no personal time. It's all that crap. I mean, it's all there, but you can't curse on those other shows and they're not as funny.
Yeah. By the way, all of these holiday movies, they're all just ripoffs of Baby Boom.
Yeah.
Which we did an episode on. So you could just watch Baby Boom. But I do love these. I love the Hallmark and Lifetime movies. I think they're super fun and comforting. But the Happiest Season is on Hulu, and it was Kristen Stewart and Mackenzie Davis, I believe is her name. And they are girlfriends, and Mackenzie Davis brings Kristen Stewart home for the holidays, but she has not come out to her parents yet. So she has Kristen Stewart pretend to be her like straight roommate, and within the first half hour everyone is so, I don't know, they're just shitty to her, and I was like, I hate this. I just
that doesn't sound good at all.
No. And Aubrey Plaza shows up at one point, and she's always great, and I was like, I wish the movie was about her and Kristen Stewart and not these other people, and I just was like, life's too short, so I stopped it.
I like Kristen Stewart fine.
Me too.
But I keep seeing that thing for the Diana movie, but it's like streams for $19.99. I'm like, I just can't pull that trigger.
Yeah. I'm like, I might watch it eventually, but
yeah,
It looks like Jackie. Do you remember Jackie with Natalie Portman? It looks like that.
Oh, that's a worse movie.
So I'm like, I might watch it eventually when it's streaming somewhere and I don't have to pay for it. That's what I think is going to happen.
Same.
Yeah. Is there anything else you're dorking out about?
I'm kind of tired.
Okay. I know that, and I know we're both bummed that Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip is over.
Yeah, that was the best Christmas present. That was really super fun. It's on Peacock. You don't have to know who any of these women are.
No.
Trust me, they take care of that for you.
Mm-hmm.
They just give you the highlights. I've never liked Kenya so much.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Kyle is evil. You just can't see it for yourself. But it was really enjoyable. And I started watching, I got Showtime for the month.
Yeah.
And I started watching this documentary about gossip. It's just called Gossip. And it's making me so angry because it's all about the tabloids in the 80s. And Cindy Adams is this woman who's an old battle axe.
Yeah.
She's like 90. And she's been in this forever. And she's been the doyenne of the gossip world forever. And she talks about all of her good friends. And she's like, Imelda Marcos.
Oh my God.
And who's the woman, the hotel lady that we talked about? What a creep.
Oh, Leona Hemsley.
Leona Hemsley, like, what great friends did, like, somebody goes, why are you friends with them? She goes, that's a stupid question. Why do you think I'm friends with them? And 90 and sharp as a tack. It looks great, but it's so like, God, we're being so manipulated all the time.
Yeah. I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, it'll because you're a reporter too, so you'll be at points like really infuriated, but it's interesting.
It'll make me feel glad that I left the profession.
Yes. Yes.
And just like that, Sonia stopped being a reporter.
Yep.
Well, I'm really glad that we got to talk about Hard Day's Night. Where can people find you on the internet, Margo?
You can find me at Brooklyn Fit Chick for Twitter and Instagram, and my site is brooklynfitchick.com.
And if you like the sound of our voices, and I assume you do, you can also listen to us at What a Creep podcast, where we talk about creeps of the past and the present, not the future. That's some Minority Report shit, and we're just not there yet. But we're having a really great time, and join us. You can find me at The Sonia Show on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok, where I don't want to brag, but I'm kind of blowing up on there today.
She's trending, y'all.
I'm trending, y'all. Just saying. Hashtag Forever 51. And you can find Dorking Out at dorkingoutshow.com and Dorking Out Show on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to join the What a Creep Facebook group, some people there talk about dorking out as well. It's the private group. You have to ask to join, answer some What a Creep questions, and you're in. Yep. And if you want some stickers, email us at dorkingoutshow@gmail.com or send us requests. We take requests. And this was super fun. I am so glad we did this. It's going to be a hard day's night, Margo.
I might have to watch this again. I'm not even fucking kidding you.
Do it.